Okay. Well, we'll see what happens here. We may have to record the show tonight. We'll see what happens. Not sure. I've been bumping up the top end of my CPU, and I've been having some issues. I'm not sure if my computer is starting to go or not. So it does get a lot of use. It puts out a lot of horsepower, and so it could be part of the problem. It could be part of the problem. I didn't want that, so fuck off. Oh, what do you know? What do you know? I think we're finally live. Well, the wheels are turning around on the bus here, and it's not anyone's particular fault tonight. My computer seems to be giving me some grief tonight. I'm not exactly sure. And a couple of these resources are being real CPU hogs tonight. So, yeah. Well, notifications is not on there, and it's having trouble playing the video. So that tells me there's some major issue going on here tonight. And I know it's not my computer per se, but there is something really, really weird going on. We've got gremlins in the mix tonight. And, yeah, something's just like not exactly right. Yeah, sorry, we're having trouble playing this video. And I got a feeling that it's, it's not going to be pretty. So it may be just that I can't do this tonight. And it's unfortunate. Oh, okay. Well, this is weird. It says there's 2 people watching me. I have no idea if this is actually really working or not. So if it is, then I'll go on here and put some invites out. But, maybe. I don't know. It just says it says that the live producer is telling me that I'm not somehow recording. Okay, well, I guess I am live. That was just one flipping bit of weird bullshit going on. But I've got some gremlins going on in the system here tonight, and my computer's been acting bizarrely. It hasn't got a virus, so I'm not exactly sure what's going on, but I'm going to invite a few people online here. Oh, Kyle, you do see me. Okay, well, that's good. Bear with me a second while I get things rolling here. I'm going to just flip views for a second here. There we go. While I get things kind of set up here. OBS is a broadcasting, open source broadcasting that I use. And for whatever reason, it's decided to kind of do its own thing. So I'm not exactly sure what's going on But I'm going to see if I can't. It's not even letting me like share this right now with anyone. So that's the weird part about it. Very, very strange. Yeah, it won't let me share. So I'm going to close down my stuff here and go back in and see if I can't link up with it. It's really quite bizarre. Yeah. And it's not playing. I am having technical difficulties. There's no doubt about that tonight. But we will be, I'll be joining you momentarily as soon as I can get my applications to open properly here. There we go. Hey, Rich. Hey, Kyle. How's it going, guys? Hope you're having a great Sunday night. I'm just going to try and get things fired up here, see if I can... Oh, it's not letting me invite anybody. So you guys are maybe going to have to do that for me because for whatever reason, Live Producer is not letting me do any invites. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here. That's right. I'm going to go over here and open up my page and see if I can't share it off my page. Because that is like so horrible that is not working. So, I don't know. I'll just flip scenes here for a second. There you can look at my mug here while I'm doing my thing here and getting things set up. So tonight I was going to go on a rant about Facebook and sort of what they've been doing and how they're really doing a disservice to musicians and artists and small businesses. And I think it bears discussion because it's interfering with people's ability to do business and with free enterprise. So I've got a few issues with that, and I want to rant about that tonight. Certainly going to be talking about music and some shows that we got coming up and some people that we're going to have on here. That's going to be fun. But right now, I'm just simply stalling for time while I can go onto my page and I can actually try and share. For whatever reason, it's not letting me share with anybody. And it's done that before. And it's been, a weird thing that it does it. But there's not much I can do about it. See if I can, where it's going to let me share it. More options. Okay, more options. Share to a group. Okay, there we go. Well, we can share it to a couple of groups, right? Let's share it to my Indie Tunes support group. If you guys haven't joined that yet, you should. You should join that group because it's there to support you and artists like you. That's why I set the page and have been building it. It's really a place to help us to showcase artists and help them get their music out before the public. That is one of the goals of my label, was to really, and it's not just right now about helping the artists that work directly with me. It's about helping all artists, because everybody's struggling right now. These are trying times, and yeah, I know. Hey, Rich, they're going to make it about the dollars. Of course, they're going to make it about the dollars. If you want to come on here and do a live Zoom interview with me, that would be fun, because I'd love to have a co-host on here to talk about these sort of subjects, because it's something that's been weighing on me lately. There's a whole lot of things happening in social media lately, and what I find most interesting is that there are people out there who are doing cover tunes and paying sponsored ads with Facebook. That's right, they're doing sponsored ads with Facebook, and they're actually able to get no copyright strikes. Interesting. I find that really interesting, that this whole hostage-taking thing by social media is about a pay-to-play mentality. And there, I was online back and forth with some artists and musicians earlier today about one of my posts, and people lamenting some of the stuff that's gone on there. And I think maybe what I might do is go over there once I share this. So I want to share this again. So just bear with me while I because it's making me share individually to groups, which really sucks. Normally I can do it up my phone and go bum 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 bum, and it's there. But for whatever reason, it's not letting me do it, and I'm a little bit ticked about it, to say the least. But hey, it's what it is, right? And so that's pissing me off tonight. That's part of my rant. Part of my rant is that Facebook is not allowing me to cross-post tonight, which is really bizarre because I'm trying to post onto other pages so that people can jump online with me and join the discussion. And if you can't, yeah, I know. Why are they picking on you when other shows are featuring covers? Well, it's interesting. They're paying for those. They're paying Facebook. It's extortion money. They're paying Facebook to cover someone else's music. Now, I don't know about you, but you're not really going to make any money covering someone else's music, and you're not branding yourself by always doing someone else's music either. So this is about original content. It's about independent music. It's about indie art at its finest. And, people seek to cheapen it all the time, and it's starting to piss me off. So this is my weekly rant to talk about that. I'm going to throw some music on in the background. Just if it's too loud, let me know, and I'll turn it down. This is just some session stuff going on here in the background. I'm just going to play that for you. Well, we go. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to a couple of things. Yeah, I know. They make it about the dollars. And it abhors me that they would do that. But, and here, you think Facebook is actually here as a social medium to actually help everybody, but it's really not. It's really here to help itself. And the only way it's going to help us is if we force it to. Remember, Facebook is nothing without us. And without the users, Facebook wouldn't exist, right? It's like any business. If you don't have users, they can't exist. We are the lifeblood of Facebook. But if we don't band together, if we don't unite to talk to Facebook about what we really want instead of the stuff bullshit that they're feeding us every day, then we are going to have to live with what it is on any social media platform. And I'm not talking about just Facebook. It's been happening on places like YouTube. And I've had artists who are actually having their own content. That's right, their own content blocked. Their whole content blocked by the medium that they're broadcasting on, even though they own the music, they wrote it, they copyrighted it, they published it. I mean, there's not much else they could do to it, and yet still they're getting copyright strikes and all kinds of other goofy bullshit. And these other people that are out there playing music that is someone else's intellectual property are able to do so, and their videos are actually trending on Facebook and other mediums. All you got to do is look at it because they're paying. They're paying the social media platform for allowing them to broadcast. That's right. They're paying for the privilege of broadcast instead of Facebook looking at it the other way around, that people broadcasting on here are maybe offering some level of entertainment value for people, some level of social engagement for people. But no, instead, they want to charge you extortion money so that you will have to pay to broadcast. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't like monopolies. I don't like anybody that owns everything. And the internet, the inventor of the internet, never intended the internet to be used this way. The internet was established for a free exchange of ideas. And remember the word free exchange of ideas. And I remember when they sent the first message across the internet. I remember when don't get you started on Spotify. I just saw it come up there. Yeah, brother, you know what? I have to tell you, Spotify is part of the problem. And why they're part of the problem is that Facebook and Spotify are using a thing called Music Match. And what Music Match is doing is it's using AI to detect copyrighted or published works when it's being played on a social media platform. Now, instead of a human being making a decision about that, because the broadcaster has made all the appropriate disclosures in the event that they own all of the copyrighted material that is part of their content, or they have the express and informed consent of the copyright holders to exploit the content. Now, that is copyright law in an eggshell and how it works. And there are so many different aspects to it. But when you look at Spotify, Kirk, you got a comment there. What's the cost? I'm not sure what you mean by what is the cost. Oh, the cost to actually broadcast it? It depends. You have to do it as a sponsored ad. You have to do it as a sponsored person on there. So you could be paying Facebook, $20, $30 a day or more. I'm not exactly sure how it works. All I can tell you is that you're paying to play. Now, why would you want to pay to play in the first place? You've spent countless hours. And, I was talking to guys online today, and I'm going to try and scoot over to my actual page, because we had a dialogue going on there this afternoon, and people are still commenting on it. I put about independent music. Let me see where I got it over here. Yeah, I technical difficulties. Yeah, so I'm going to flip this over here onto the screen, and this is the part I was talking about. So independent music is expected to generate more than $2 billion this year. Now, independent music, the world of independent music is growing at an exponential rate. Okay? It is going to outpace mainstream music. And what's changed? What's the game changer for that? Well, the game changer is that almost everyone now can afford to buy a really good interface, right? Almost everyone can afford to buy the microphones to record, because they're making really, really good microphones at not super expensive prices that you can still record pretty decently on in your home studio. Now, my daughter has a friend who is a rapper, and he started producing his music in his closet. And now he's on collaborations with The Weeknd, and his career has taken off. Now, mind you, he moved to the city in order to do that. But what I'm saying is, it really, really, really changed. Yeah, I know, 3.5 million streams equals 15,000, maybe if you're lucky. When you look at the fact that Journey's music, for example, has been streamed 1 billion times on Spotify. That 1 billion represents about $100 million. I forget, I actually did the math on it, and it's not a whole lot of money. And by the time the band gets their share of their 11%, if they're lucky, their 11% of all of that, and then split up amongst the band members, right? And that means past and present, if they're all entitled to receive royalties. So, for bands that have been around 100 years, yeah, maybe, right? But the thing is, you've got to get millions and millions of streams. And here's the thing about Spotify, and here's the thing about a lot of other things that are out there, other entities besides Spotify that are out there, is that A, they pay so poorly for people to stream your music. It takes forever to earn any income off said music. So unless you're generating alternative revenue streams and you're depending on your music to make you money, it's going to take a long time, and you're going to how does that happen? Well, it happens because you might only have a following of 800 people, maybe. We've seen this happen with bands who have organic followings of 15,000 or more, and you would expect launch day, you put that single out, and all 15,000 of those people are going to buy that or download it. That doesn't happen. Maybe 10%. Maybe 10%. Here's the problem with social media. People have become somewhat less engaged than they probably would normally be because there's so much thrown at people, right? Social media throws so much at everyone that it's like, how does that happen? Well, we're going to talk about some of that tonight in my rant. But here was I talked about the independent music industry going to generate more than $2 billion this year, and one person puts on there, well, that's not true for Europe, North America combined. They are game changers in the works, is what I said. And as long as the big three record companies are involved, there's some struggles. The other thing that's also affecting artists, and I know it's happening to some of the artists that I work with in the U.S., is that they are experiencing problems with performance rights organizations going into the clubs and the venues that they play in. And as a result of that, it's created some hardship between them and the people, and the venue. No, not really. Kirk, I'm not saying for $50 you're getting 12,000 views. What I'm saying is they don't guarantee anything. Now, I have had artists after artists that have used Facebook sponsored ads, and they've gotten basically zero results. And they've targeted specific audiences. They've looked at specific things. The thing is that if you don't have people engaged, it doesn't matter how many people Facebook will tell you they will give you exposure to. They don't put it out in front of those people. And it doesn't work. Most people that I've talked to that have used Facebook for advertising, and I trust a lot of them because some of them have been in the marketing industry, have said to me that the return on investment is a losing investment for Facebook. For what you gain by paying for a sponsored ad on Facebook. And here's part of the problem. I'm going to show you some of the problems tonight, what paid advertising does, okay? So we're going to talk about that. But here's some things, some interesting things. There are some game changers in the works that are going to change things for artists. One of those is there's a group of artists in the States that are lobbying Congress. Now, if Congress would stop dealing with all the bullshit in the States right now and run the country like they're supposed to, right? And if, both parties in the States would work together, Congress would have time to actually deal with things like performance rights organizations and to deal with regulations around Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, Deezer, Tidal, and the ones that are specially owned by other artists who are actually profiteering off of those streaming sites. And what's happening is on those streaming sites, and I'm gonna just show you really, really quick here. I'm just gonna quick pull it up for you. I don't have it right handy right now, but I'm gonna pull it up. What this is about is streaming services that are owned by artists. Oh, sorry, I've got to put the search in right. You can tell I wasn't a typer. I have to tell you, this whole thing has really challenged my technical capabilities and really pushed out the boundaries for me in my learning. And you know, I'm a few decades old, so that makes it really, really difficult. They say you can't teach new tricks to old dogs. Well, you can, but it just takes a little bit longer for it to, like, you know, work in here. All right, so owned by... where is it? Okay, so the Tidal owners. Tidal is one of the streaming services. Okay, who are the artists on? Now it talks about who the artists on Tidal. But Tidal is artist owned. Okay, and the Tidal artist owners are Alicia Keys, Arcade Fire, Beyonce, Calvin Harris, Coldplay, J. Cole, Jack White, Jason Aldean. So here's the thing. Kanye West, are you starting to hear a trend there? So streaming services that CD Baby and DistroKid and TuneCore, don't get me wrong, those services are vital for you to be able to upload music. But here's the problem. Some of the streaming services are owned by artists. Guess who controls the algorithms on the streaming services? Okay, you know where I'm going next with this, right? So all we got to do is connect the dots. I should actually do a PowerPoint on this sometime, and people probably really dig it, because if you follow you always have to follow the money, but you also have to connect all the dots, okay? So streaming services like Tidal is artist-owned, and it's owned by a bunch of artists, right? So they control the algorithms about who gets played the most and who gets buried in the algorithms. If you're an independent artist, more than likely, and if you're not on a major label, you're likely going to end up in the bottom of the algorithms on Tidal. And if you don't believe me, I'm telling you, this shit happens. It's and this whole pay-to-play business is all based off of a thing called payola. Now, if you don't know what payola is, it existed way back when I was a young guy, a young musician back in the 70s, and essentially, A&R managers for record labels had budgets where they could go into radio stations, radio networks, wherever music was sold, and say, push our product, and here's some money, and by the way, here's a bag of cocaine, right? They used to do stuff like that all the time. Well, then Congress and others got together and said, okay, this is not fair. Payola is not a fair thing, so we're going to outlaw it. So payola got outlawed, but people are still using various forms of payola. It's called pay-to-play. How many of you have had to go? And I was talking about with somebody on a venue tonight. We were talking about venues that are actually charging artists to play there because they don't have the money to pay them. Now that's really, you know what? If they don't have the money to pay them, then it's not the band's fault. It's the venue's fault for not bringing in people. The band's job is to keep the people there. They can be a draw, but their job is to keep the people there once they're there. And if people are being properly entertained or they enjoy what's going on, they're going to stay for the whole show, right? They're going to stay right to the last set and maybe even give you an encore, right? But the whole pay-to-play thing is finding its way into the independent music world, and it sickens me that it is, because if you don't have deep pockets, if you don't have money, you can't get your music heard. Well, I think that's bullshit, and I think that needs to change. So I am lobbying activists, I am lobbying people to change the laws that affect the way that music is shared and the way that artists are remunerated. The only way to change things is to get legislators to start changing laws around arts like that. And it's really hard to get it done because, art is one of the last things that politicians think of, and yet it's one of the things that a lot of them enjoy. Josh Cooper shares this. They bury the guys that expose the truth too. More people need to watch this and get informed. It's true. Well, you can share it. And that's the way we beat Facebook's algorithms. We can beat them at their own game by sharing. Share outside your normal 25 or 30 people that you see in your algorithms on Facebook. Share this tonight. Share this live stream tonight, because what I'm playing tonight is not going to get copyright stricken. It is not going to get anything from Facebook because this is my own music and it's being played off a DAW and it's not even published. And I'm seriously considering not publishing our music and selling it straight off our website. That's what I'm considering on doing. In fact, I'm looking at setting it up where people can actually stream our music off our website and we get 100% of those dollars. If my test project works and we are able to successfully set up our music so it can be streamed and downloaded right off our website, well, guess what? I'm going to open that up to other artists. Yep. And I'm not even going to charge you to do that. I'm going to ask you to give me some money on the backside when we make you some money. When we make you some money, I'm going to ask you to give us a share of that profit when we make some money. If that works, if this project works. But you know what? It's possible. It's possible for it to happen. It's possible for any band to allow streaming of their music straight off their website. Right? And then now all we need is a way to link all those websites together. And now you've got something where people can go and get independent music on demand that is not buried in any algorithm anywhere, right? But they do bury them in algorithms. There's another one here, I think. Oh, you'll like this one. Now, I've done countless hours of research, and part of the countless hours of research I did was when I decided that I was going to start an independent record label, was like, how am I going to do this? And, what do I need to know? And I wanted to run something that was much different. Josh, yes, I would work with DistroKid. Most definitely. I work with DistroKid now. Here's the cool thing about DistroKid. I have a label agreement with DistroKid. So I am allowed to have X number of artists on my label, and I can increase that. And I pay one price per year, and I can upload as much music as I want under every artist, which is really, really cool, because I have some artists who are putting out music continually, all the time. I have one artist who puts out sometimes two records a year. So it's interesting, but that, DistroKid is a great way to upload. They offer a lot of really cool, they're always adding new services, and they've got a whole bunch of really cool things you can use. And their staff assistance, like their assistance program, support program is actually pretty robust as well. So what I want to show you is another one. Here's an interesting one thing. You're going to love this one here. So here's the upshot on this particular one. You got to see this one because I'm going to put it over there for you. You might be blown away, and then again, you might not. Let me just see if it lets me get in there. So here's what I'm talking about, performance rights organizations and how they can screw things up for artists. They've actually gone into venues and start harassing venues for not paying royalties on music that they're playing that night. Now, I can see that for cover tunes, but not for artists playing their own music in the venue. Even though their music's published, CSAC and others are going after the venues, wanting them to pay royalties on the artist playing there that night. And they're like, no, we're already paying the artist to play here. We shouldn't have to, this is a double dip deal. So I've had artists have complained that that they've actually been ripped off. But here's a company to watch out for, because what they're doing is going around snapping up everything. Sony Entertainment, Sony Music Publishing, and what's happened is that the thing is on here. I'm going to go back over here where it says Deezer raises $185 million as new investment values company at X number of dollars, and then there's an article here where it talks about it, and says but now who's their investor? Sony Music, right? Sony Music and Sony Entertainment, which is buying up everything they can. And so here's where you're going to run into problems again. Streaming services like this, where you've got major investors like this is why it's so unpure and it's so corrupt. The whole frickin' music industry is still very, very corrupt. So Deezer now has they raised $185 million because they allowed an investor like Sony Music to come in, right? And I'm going to continue the article. So Spotify rival Deezer has secured another $160 million, $185 investment from a group of investors. The group includes existing investors such as Access Industries and Orange, in addition to Kingdom Holding Company and Rotana. The final investor was LBO France. And what they're doing is trading the company on the stock exchange, and now people can go in and invest in this. Now, here's the thing. Investors are going to want the artists that they support played on there, right? Tell me there's not going to be some level of influence there. The interesting thing about Deezer, if you can trust Wikipedia at all, they say that Deezer is a French online music streaming service that allows users to listen to music content from record labels including Universal Music Group, Sony, and Warner Music Group. There you go. They're listed right at the top. And I believe that article to be true. And get this, you're going to love this one here. Warner Music's parent company now in control of Deezer following French approval. Warner Music is in control of Deezer. Now, if Warner Music controls Deezer, are they going to play your music? Are they going to bury your music in the algorithms? I have to tell you, the reason why I'm such a believer in independent music is I've heard independent music that is so much better than the mainstream bullshit that I hear coming out, being cranked out. I'm seeing more care, more effort, more passion put into music by artists who are actually out there producing their own music and doing a much better job than these people that that charge you thousands and thousands of dollars to produce your stuff. I've got guys that are producing stuff in garages, in basements that are not set up as studios, but man, they've made really good music, and I played it on my shows, and I have to tell you, they're just the tip of the iceberg, right? They really are just the tip of the iceberg. But when you've got companies like Warner who've got major control in streaming services, if you go on here and you look at, so you go on here about, here's an interesting article from the Rolling Stone. They talk about who really owns Spotify. Well, according to a flurry of new SEC filings, financial giants now claim big chunks of the streaming service. There you go. You're wondering why your music is not getting played well on Spotify? Well, here's the problem. Oh, God, now this company's charging me for a subscription. I don't think so. But long-term investments in Spotify required nerves of steel in 2019 because they put themselves on the New York Stock Exchange. And why did they put themselves on the stock exchange? They put themselves there to raise working capital for improvement of the platform, all kinds of other stuff. But it's really, the long-term investors of Spotify, this is in 2019, mind you, okay? The valuation of the company rose as high as $28.34 billion. That's right, $157.66 per share on August 8th, but sink as low as $19.65 per share. So there's been some changes in Spotify and who's bought into Spotify and who actually owns it. Okay? But there's a whole bunch of different people that have their hooks into Spotify. Furthermore, it says that companies like Sony Entertainment and Universal Group continue to jointly own between 6% and 7% of Spotify. That's each. And I would say that's probably modest. Nobody really knows how much these major corporations own of Spotify. What I can tell you, and we'll go back over here. What I can tell you is that I'm just going to switch this because it's annoying me. Just give me a second here. Oh, maybe it's actually going to start now because this is like the session and we've recorded everything in between it, right? So I'm just kind of playing that in the background so you're not just having to listen to my voice. So you've got Universal Group, Sony Entertainment Group, and Columbia Music that primarily own everything, and they have their hooks into everything, right? So are you going to get your fair shake on Spotify? No. Are you going to get your shares? You're going to get your share on iTunes? No. Are you going to get your share on any streaming service? No. Are you going to be buried in the algorithms? Yeah. This is how the mainstream industry is seeking to push down the independent music market because we represent a threat to them. We represent a change to their way of life, meaning that, the day is gone where record labels can rule everybody and own everything, right? And when DAWs got manufactured in the software world that could do really wonderful things to recordings, this is what you're hearing in the background is a live recording of us, and that's not mastered or finally mixed or compressed or anything. That's just us playing live, trying to get our best possible recording of each of our songs. But my point is, when this came into being, anybody can produce really good music now. So we represent a threat to mainstream music, a big-time threat. How do you handle a threat in the world today? You suppress it. That's how you handle a threat. You use social media and other forms to suppress it so that it doesn't get heard and so that people continue to gravitate towards the mainstream. And of course, as you know, mainstream music is hurting as much as any artist in the industry right now. The pandemic was a cover-up for something. Well, I don't know if it's a cover-up for something, but I can tell you when people are busy doing things, okay? Whenever the world gets busy doing things, there's always going to be charlatans and people out there that are going to take advantage of things and use that as smoke and mirrors to do all their bullshit behind the scenes. But it's up for us to be aware of it and to balance that. And the way we balance it is by sharing, by breaking through the algorithms. And we can do this in a number of ways. We can cross-post and cross-share each other's music links. That's one way to do it, right? Because what you're doing is putting everybody's music links be in front of people that wouldn't ordinarily see those music links and know that there's a huge variety of independent music that's out there. I've been accused by Facebook. I've been locked down a couple of times by Facebook for spam. Yeah, that's right. They've accused me of spam, and then they turn around. I'm going to see if I can find it. This is the funniest thing you'll ever see on Facebook. It's in my support inbox. So let me just see here if I can find it. Yeah, here's my violations. I love this. So, so this is an interesting one. This is one that Facebook fucked up on big time. Like they screwed up big time. And here's what they did. I'm going to show this to you. And here it is right here. So this is in my support messages. This was back in a post that I did. And I've done several of them over the time. And Facebook will do all kinds of stuff. So there was a local musician in London, Ontario, holding an online concert to help her peers without gigs. This is during the first outbreak of coronavirus, right? And she decided she's going to go online, do it. She's got a really good following, and I think we had like something like 12,000 views in the very short while, and all kinds of donations that came in. Online donations that came in. All of the proceeds from that concert went to artists in the local area that were struggling because of coronavirus and, of course, had no income because the venues were shut down. So she decided to do something about that and go online. So I tried to help her, and I post the London Free Press, which is our local rag here in our area. And it said, London musician to hold online concert to help peers without gigs due to COVID-19. And then they put on here, they blocked it. That's the bullshitty thing about the whole thing. They actually blocked it, which I thought was like the most bizarre thing ever. So here I go to my violations right here, okay? And it says, this post goes against our community standards on spam. Really? You read that as spam? Me helping an artist to get the word out that they're putting on a free concert and people are putting money into a virtual tip jar, and she's raising that money to help local artists that are struggling because of COVID, and Facebook decides it goes against their community standards and calls it spam? So get this. Then they say, oh, we're sorry. We got this wrong. We reviewed your post again, and it does follow our community standards. Well, guess what? They blocked my post. I didn't know my post was blocked. I assumed it was out there. No notification from Facebook. And so I don't know how much my post actually helped. We actually didn't end up sharing the live stream, but the whole point of it was that Facebook blocked it, and they had no right to block it, because it didn't violate their standards at all, because they're using AI instead of a real person to decide about whether you're violating community standards or not. What they're doing is putting protocols into AI and going, yeah, well, you can call it this if these parameters are met. And as a result of that, stuff getting blocked that shouldn't get blocked. Here's another one. Let me show you another one here. Let me see. This post goes against our community standards on spam. Right? Let's see. Oh, we're sorry. We got this wrong. We reviewed your post again, and it does follow our community standards. I mean, seriously, Facebook, get your shit together and get it right, okay? And it's not just me they're picking on, but they tend to pick on people who refuse. They constantly send me emails all the time to pay them to play my content. Now, why would I do that? Why would I do that when this is a social media platform designed for people to have social engagement? All I'm doing is providing an opportunity for social engagement around music and talk and other cool stuff And I'm being denied that by a social media platform who, by way towards Congress and their antitrust hearings, is saying they're not a publishing company. They don't publish. Well, if you're not in the business of publishing, Facebook, you have no right to mute people's content, right? What you need to do is put up a disclaimer and say, we are not going to be held liable for anyone's copyright infringement. And you, as a broadcaster or as someone broadcasting on Facebook, have to sign an agreement that nullifies Facebook from liability. And all you have to do is use all the appropriate disclaimers and make sure that you have all the copyright ownership that you need to do your broadcast. And then you don't get touched by Facebook, but you see, they want to charge you to do that. They want you to pay to be published. That's right. I'm a publisher, but I got to pay Facebook to publish my streams? I don't think so. And their excuse is, oh, you're playing copyrighted content. Not if I own the copyright or the people who are asking me, who are sending me the content. They're the copyright holders and owners. So there is no copyright. There is no breach of copyright law there. We are completely compliant with copyright law. And yet Facebook mutes my content and says that they're muting it because I violated copyright. No, I haven't violated copyright at all. You got it wrong, just like you always do. And I've sent them hundreds and hundreds of messages. So what you can do, if you really want to help me out, you can send them messages too. You can actually just take your phone. Here, I'll just show you really quick. You can actually go onto the help side on your phone app, and you can go help. And if you say report a problem, you can click live. And then it'll say, go back to where you experienced the problem and shake. What it does is it takes a screenshot of what you're talking about so they can look at it, and you can just say, hey, I'm one of the artists who actually share content with this guy so he can actually post it online, right? Yeah, that's right. Just about everyone doing live streams performing music they don't own, and that's absolutely true. And you know what? That's wrong. That's in violation of copyright law. It is someone else's intellectual property if it's already been published. If it's been published, especially if it's been published on Spotify, because again, Spotify uses a thing called Music Match, and Music Match is actually working in the background in Facebook to detect music that is published on Spotify. And if it's published on Spotify, guess what? That's right. They ding you on copyright. Even though you may be the copyright holder, and even though you may have all of the permissions and all of the disclosures in place to ensure that you're compliant with copyright law, right? That is where Facebook is not following copyright law appropriately. They're just using this broad brush, except if you're paying to have that content put up on Facebook. And all you got to do is see where it says sponsored. If it's sponsored, it's self-sponsored. Pages pay money. If you own a page on Facebook, you'll see where they send you all these, these invites to use. And I constantly, every day, I get messages from Facebook. Oh, you can monetize this. You can pay for this, and we'll put it out there in a sponsored ad for you. I could be spending thousands of dollars a day with all of the requests Facebook sends me about, do you want to pay for a sponsored ad for this, that, or the other thing, and for every band that I'm with, and do I want to monetize or pay for this video? But I'm paying to have it played. And the return on the investment is really just not worth it. Because it's not making me any money. It's not helping me. It's to help the artists, right? And the goal is to get a return on that investment so that the music gets out in front of more artists. And I hate paying extortion money. Yeah. Yeah, you're right, Josh. You're right about that. They've cornered the market and they've developed a monopoly. So we're going to see what happens down in the States because the new administration has promised that they're going to break monopolies in the States. So it'll be interesting to see if that happens. Because if they do, that means they're going to be going after Mark Zuckerberg. They're going to be going after Jeff Bezos of Amazon. They're going to be going out. I can't remember the guy that runs Google. And they're also going to be going after Twitter. Because all 4 of those social media platforms are basically controlling everything right now. So unless you're willing to pay to play, you get buried. That's basically how it works. They're all about making money. Multi-billion dollar corporations, multi-billion dollar owners who just want more money. Now, how much is enough? Right? How much is enough? $2 billion? Let's take a look at this one. I love this one. So here's a good one. Get that? You're gonna love this one here. Oh, this they call him the lizard. All right, you know what I'm talking about, right? Okay, so I have to put this over there for you because it's kind of hilarious. So Mark Zuckerberg's net worth about right now is $97.2 billion. Forbes, which is like, one of the majors out there, has named Mark Zuckerberg the richest entrepreneur under age 40. This is back in 2017. This is old stuff, right? But the guy is worth almost $100 billion. How much is enough? This is a guy that at one point in time was just your average run-of-the-mill internet guy, right? Who came up with an idea for a social media company, right? And people jumped on board because, that was the magic word, right? Mark Zuckerberg told everybody, well, you're not going to pay for Facebook. It's going to be free. Now, the question is Facebook really free? No, it's not really free at all, right? If you really, truly want to use Facebook and get out to more people, especially if you're a band or if you're a business, you're going to pay. They're going to cut you off on these 25, maybe 30 people algorithms if you're lucky. And they're going to say, if you pay us this much money a day, you'll be able to reach this many people. So they're throttling down. They are just like internet companies. Internet companies are notorious for throttling down your internet. That's right. You have internet speeds that could run up to 100 megabits a second, but let's say you're on a hub with a whole shitload of other people in your neighborhood, and the cable company is running old technology. Well, they're going to throttle you all down. Only you won't see it, but the performance that you see on the other end can be affected. And so they call that throttling down. Facebook does the same thing. Twitter does the same thing. And Instagram, interestingly enough, because it's owned by Facebook, does a very similar thing as well. Social media just turned my granny mean. That sounds like an interesting story, Rich. Maybe you and I have to talk about that one online. That'd be fun. That'd be funny, right? And Josh says, if you go to the bottom of the rabbit hole, they have monopolized and cornered the market on the First Amendment. Yeah, I guess the First Amendment being free speech. But here's the thing. They are not maintaining free speech for everybody else. And that is not what the internet was intended for. In fact, the father of the internet, when he invented the internet, was this is a place where we're going to freely exchange information with one another. It's a place where we could become socially connected to people halfway across the world. Now, I don't know about you guys, but when I first jumped on Facebook, the idea of being able to communicate real time with friends, in Europe, friends over in New Zealand, and to make new friends in Australia and New Zealand, which I have through Facebook, which is really, really cool. That is one of the coolest aspects of Facebook, is making new friends from around the world. I have bands that I represent that are from around the world, and it's all partly because of Facebook and social media. So there's all kinds of good things that social media can do with us and for us, but as users, we need to demand a little bit more. Because Facebook is stealing from us all the time. They're stealing our photographs, they're stealing our likenesses, they are stealing everything. So it's not free. You're giving up a lot of privacy. You give up a whole lot of other things to Facebook by signing an agreement to actually use the social media platform. And, forget about being a private citizen. Once you join Facebook or Instagram or any social media for that matter, Twitter's another one. You're no longer a private citizen. You are now a branded entity on the internet. We are like one big Truman Show. Anyone ever watch that movie? We're kind of like that. And so we're like this massive social experiment that's going on in the community or in the internet community right now. And we're being exploited by companies like Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. My school thought's out on TikTok, but I see people using it. But what I want to say is that we can beat those algorithms, and we can actually make Facebook work for us. We can make them work for us by demanding it. So you can go to the help section on Facebook. Oh, here's another interesting thing. This is funny. This is actually really funny, and I got to share it with you. So I keep sending these rants out to Facebook. You'll see my most recent one here. I'm going to go over to it for you. This is one I posted the other night. So let me just see if I can find it for you. As soon as my computer lets me do it. So if you're joining me tonight, you're going to know I'm having some CPU issues on my computer, and I'm not sure if my computer is on its way out. It's it's getting up there. It's not really super old, but it gets a ton of use. And so it may be time to upgrade my computer. I use a high-end gaming computer, and I'm eating up a lot of my CPU right now. So unless I can figure out ways to decrease the demand on my CPU, and I want to be able to use Zoom, I've been able to now. I've got a new toy, new Zoom, and I was going to use it tonight because it's got a virtual green screen, and I'd be able to put all kinds of cool shit in the background behind me, but it kept stripping out my resources. So I got to see what I can do to fix the CPU usage on the computer. And I got a couple of friends I'm going to ask about that. But if you know anybody that's in the computer fixing business, send them my way. I'm looking for a consult, perhaps. All right, so here it is. What did I post? Here it is. It's coming up. Where is it? Here's where I posted it, right? My latest complaint with Facebook. Hello, is there anybody in there? Just nod if you can hear me. Is there anyone at home? Yeah, Shades of Pink Floyd. I've reported several times that Facebook is unfairly blocking my content. I'm sharing music for which I hold the copyright and or sharing content provided me by the copyright owners. Facebook is interfering with my efforts to help artists who are struggling financially during these trying times. I am not receiving any monetary compensation for my efforts. I am fully complying with copyright law. Facebook is in violation of copyright law for blocking my content. Please stop and desist. Now, I've sent that to Facebook I don't know how many times. And, I keep getting, thank you for helping us improve Facebook. But I haven't got I've got nothing back in the reply. So here's what they're busy doing. Here's what they're really doing. So I'm just going to flip my rant over to you so you can see it. Here's my proof that I actually did it. And if you go to my page, you can actually see it there, my Indie Tunes page, or my profile. You'll actually see it there. But here's an interesting thing. Let me see. I gotta go to my pages. So just give me a second. And again, my CPU is slow tonight, so processing is going very slow. And my processes are a little backed up, but it looks like the video is flowing pretty good to you guys. So I'm just going to keep it going here. I'm going to go to my Indie Tunes Records page. And I want to go to my inbox. Now, this is really funny. I get all kinds of shit in here, but here's some interesting stuff. So Facebook has no time to take a look at how they're violating my copyright stuff and how they are stopping my streams from really reaching as many people as they potentially could, because I think this would build an audience, right? In fact, I got a friend over in Australia that wants to work with me to produce a show where we talk about this stuff and exploit this stuff, talk about music, and actually be able to play music, right? If we could do that without any interference. The good news is I'm recording the show tonight. It's going to be up on my new YouTube channel, and I will post the link. So if you want to share that out with people, because just in case Facebook decides to mute me, I'm going to post it anyway. But here's the shit that they send me. This is sent by way of my business page email. So my business page, I've got about 2,020 followers on my business page. And if you haven't joined my business page, it's Indie Tunes Records. So you can join it. You get notifications every time I go live. What I'm doing is I'm streaming live here off this page now, only because my videos can now trend in Facebook videos. So that's good news, because that means more people likely to watch it, which is great. So here's another thing here. So here's the kind of shit they send me. In there, there's a girl scantily clad with a G-string on, and I click on this. This is what comes up. Found girls in Dunnville. We have a lot of horny girls on our site who want to send their nudes to you. Before you see them, we need to ask a few questions. Well, I'm not even going to go near that, but look at that. That's the shit that they're sending me, right? Here's another one. You're going to love this one. Oh, wait a minute. This is the other one. Okay, here's one. This is probably even more graphic. Yeah, there we go. Warning, 107 girls found in Dunnville. I don't know why they think I live in Dunnville. I'm like about 150 miles from Dunnville, which is really, really funny. But 107 girls found in Dunnville. Warning, you will see nude photos. Please be discreet. You are at least 18 years old. The women have requested that we not let these younger than 18 contact them because of past rude behavior by younger men. This is such horseshit. This is the kind of stuff that Facebook is promoting, right? This is the kind of bullshit that Facebook's promoting, and yet they won't publish my stuff. It just boggles my mind. Now, the only reason I can figure the only reason I can figure is these are all sponsored ads. These are companies that have these live hookups. They're kind of like, oh God, I don't know. What's that? There's one, Tinder. It's like Tinder, right? And you can hook up with horny people and all kinds of other shit. This is the kind of stuff that Facebook is actually promoting. They're promoting pornography. They're promoting all kinds of deviant stuff as well. But they have trouble recognizing when someone owns copyright and has all the copyright protections in order to share content. Really good content, musical content, and music content about music, and yet they decide they're going to block anything that they consider published without checking with me, first of all, to find out whether I'm the copyright holder or owner, or that I have all of the correct clearances from the copyright holders to share the content, right? Really stupid stuff. But that's kind of what they're up to, and I cannot believe it. It drives me crazy that Facebook is acting this way, and yet, you know what? There's almost nothing there's almost nothing we can do about that because we can't control what they're going to support and what they're not. But we can share content with one another. So I'm going to recap a couple of things. Share your music links with people in your circle and get them to share it with people outside of their circle. So people that don't normally show up on their business on their feed on Facebook. So share that with people who normally you wouldn't share it to. Reach outside the 25 or 30 people that Facebook is locking you down to and share it outside. Get those people to share it with people outside of their circles as well. So the goal is you cross-share with one another. We build a community, and the community, let me find it for you here. It's in my groups, and let me just dig down here. I'll find it faster here. It's called Indie Teens Music Support, and if you don't belong to the group, maybe you might want to consider joining it. It's a group by my profile, Indie Tunes. It's called Indie Teens Music Support. We've got 277 members in there, a lot of the musicians, but a lot of them are people that support independent art as well. And we want that group to grow. And the idea of that group is to build that group as high as we can and get people to cross-post musical links for artists. So what we're going to do is we're going to beat the Facebook algorithms, and that's one way we're going to do it, right? We can do the same thing on Twitter. We can do the same thing on Instagram, and we can beat the algorithms. It takes a little bit more work, but you're not paying extortion money in order to do it. So I think that's an awesome way for us to build community, and a great way to beat the algorithms and avoid the whole pay-to-play situation, right? Facebook wants you to pay to have your content played, and I don't buy that. I think that there is a better way forward, and the better way forward is to force their algorithms to share it even if you're not paying for it. And that, to me, takes a little bit of work, but I'm willing to help out wherever I can. And all I'm asking you to do is sort of the same stuff, right? Share it out with people, and every time I post something that's designed to build the musical community, then why not let's do that, right? They'll ban me for porn. It's their own content, Rich. That's the hilarious thing about all that, right? Right? Now it's 10. Josh, what do you mean? What do you mean 10 a week? I'm not sure what you're referring to as 10 a week. $10 a week? It's more than that. It could be hundreds of dollars a week, right? Or are you you're talking about the porn? Maybe Josh is talking about the porn. Facebook has its own religion. Well, it does have its own religion, but so does Twitter. So does Instagram. They all have their own. Now, I use several different platforms and mediums, Facebook being one of them. I'm actually going to be loading up another piece of software that's going to allow me to simulcast up to 4 different platforms at once. So we're looking at going live simultaneously on YouTube, Facebook, on Twitter, Instagram, and possibly Twitch, if we can get all 5 of those at once. So I'm going to need a heftier computer to do that. So it's time to invest in a new one, and that's probably where I'm going to head with all of that. Now, what did he say? Josh says, I've shared live broadcasts from radio stations playing our music where I wasn't allowed to tag the band page or include a link to the band. I had at least 50 friends that couldn't do it either. Yeah, because a lot of times that shit gets disabled, right? Which is really, really unfortunate that they decide to disable that stuff because it's, again, right, unfair to you, the artist. It's unfair to you, the artist, because all you're really trying to do is get your music out there before as many people as you can. And they need to recognize that independent artists don't have the deep pockets that are behind mainstream artists. And the reason mainstream artists can do that is because they have labels giving them money to be able to pay for those sponsored ads. As an independent artist, you don't. As a small record label, I don't. I don't have the financial resources to go out and do it. And for those people that I know, like one of the artists that I work with, he's the producer, chief cook, and bottle washer, does a lot of their promo, aside from what I do for them, but reached out to me because all he was looking at was an independent record label to help them extend their reach, right? This is a guy that's worked in the music industry for years, has his own musical project that they're putting out there. They spent thousands and thousands of dollars. They used Stuart Epps, who produced Led Zeppelin, to produce their albums. And they did not get the return on investments. And we were talking about that earlier today, how you can spend, thousands and thousands of dollars. And I'm going to tell you, he spent probably $50,000 producing those albums. And the return on the investment just wasn't there because they didn't have a major record label behind them. And even if they did, don't know. I mean, it's hard to say. And why, major record labels these days are looking for quick wins, low-hanging fruit where they know they're going to make money. And they're not just marketing the music, they're marketing the artist, right? They're branding the artist, right? So you got to remember, if they don't see you as brandable, they're not going to sign you anyway. And then there's others that I know where major record labels have nearly ruined their musical careers. So there's that whole gambit there, right? But the main thing that I see is our ability to share music widely with everyone that we can. And if we do that, and we expand those circles that we have, and the other thing you can also do is join groups, right? There's a ton of groups on here. Maybe I should, if I can put the links to all the groups, maybe I'll try putting all the links to all the groups that you can join. There's a whole bunch of groups you can join where you can actually get your stuff out there, right? So it may be possible. It may well be possible that, we can get music out to far more people by you joining those groups and then posting your links on all of those groups as well. So I can post you some of the links to some of them, or maybe do a screenshot and send you that as well. That might be helpful for people to kind of link what's out there. But if you start just searching musical groups, you'll find some where there's, 15,000 members, and they're not all musicians. Now, here's the other thing. We are all, when we're looking for a slice of that $2.2 billion, or roughly $2 billion that's going to be made in the world of independent music this year, the interesting thing about that is that what we need to do is think about what is our slice of the pie going to be, right? What is that share going to be? And it's not, of course, giving me the options that I'm after here. It's going to make me copy a link, which is bullshit. But anyway, it's not letting me post it tonight. But the whole thing is that if we share our music widely on all of these sites, there's a good possibility, there's an exponentially great possibility that our music is going to make it out before more people than it was before. And that is really a good thing, right? And why it's a good thing is that it's free promotion for your music, which is what I'm doing here. So even though Facebook right now is blocking, I am still doing my weekly shows, and I'm recording them, and then I'm putting the weekly shows up on YouTube. And YouTube, interestingly enough, is not blocking any content. What they are doing is any monetization that the video will make on YouTube gets divided amongst the artists, and they've done all the work. I don't have to do anything. So every time I share content on YouTube that's not my content, it recognizes that it's not my content, and they recognize who it belongs to, and they actually give the credit. Now, if Facebook did that and didn't mute the content, guess what? I wouldn't care. I'm not here to make money off the artists doing this. I mean, doing this to help artists. So all Facebook has got to do, all they have to do is say, okay, we're not going to mute your content. What we're going to do is we're going to send any monetization made off your work here on Facebook, we're going to send that to the artist. That's what YouTube does, and it works well for them, it works well for me, and it's a win-win situation. Anyways, I've just about done my talking points for tonight. Hopefully you found what I've shared with you tonight interesting, if not informative. And we got a guy here in Canada. His name's Red Green. Anybody ever watched Red Green? Well, his favorite saying was, he kind of said it like this: the handyman's secret weapon is duct tape. That's right, duct tape. She don't find you handy, or she don't find you handsome, maybe she'll find you handy. That's right, that's Red Green. Anyway, I want to say goodnight. I want to thank anybody for joining tonight that did join. I hope you learned something tonight. I hope this was helpful to you. I know it helped me. I got to vent and I got to rant. And hopefully I made some talking points that resonated with all of you. Take care, guys. And peace out. Have a great week. And I'll see you guys probably Friday night. Cheers until then. Take care, guys, and thing by social media is about a pay-to-play mentality, and there I was online, back and forth with some artists and musicians earlier today about one of my posts, and people lamenting some of the stuff that's gone on there. And I think maybe what I might do is go over there once I share this. So I want to share this again. So just bear with me while I because it's making me share individually to groups, which really sucks. Normally I can do it up my phone and go bum 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 bum.